is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Royal Ramble. I'm your host, as always, John Kevin Cole. Got Derek Jones and Brian Resner on the Skype call this evening. Guys, how we doing?
Doing good. How are you, Mr. Kevin Cole?
Well, I'm kind of lonely here in the studio. First, you left me and moved to Florida of some sorts, and then Derek leaves me. So I don't know what to do with my hands anymore.
I didn't leave you. I'm still here. I just, sometimes you got to get some space. I figured this far away I could tune out the singing if I wanted to.
Fair enough. We got a lot to talk about today. The topic of the week is who is the best wrestling family other than THAN, right, Brian? The McMahons.
Right. Honestly, you should have said other than the McMahons and the Inoki. Because the Inoki is it's so hard to not pick the Inoki. I've tried not to.
It's just
you're getting ahead of yourself. I was just setting out a teaser, guys. We're not going to break into it right now.
Just saying.
Yeah. You mean the Maivia family? That I called them last week.
The Maivia. Yeah, that's it.
For those of you guys watching for the first time, we are going to start with our pros and cons from the wrestling world like we always do. If you've never seen the show before, we try to pick one con and one pro apiece to talk about in the wrestling world in the last week of wrestling. And sometimes it's easier than others. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of had to stretch to find a con this week because, for the most part, I enjoyed wrestling this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Cons were difficult. My actual con comes not from the television programming this week.
My con is your internet connection tonight. I'm just saying.
My internet connection?
Yeah. A little spotty,
Really?
little spotty, brother-in-law. Derek over there looking all crisp, and you're all pixelated and.
Because it says here I have full bars.
That's a cell phone provider for you. But anyway, I digress. We could talk about that another time. So do you guys want to go ahead and start the cons? Brian, you kind of planted a seed there, bro. You want to go ahead and shoot for it?
I will. My con actually comes from the internet news sources this week. And I know it's going to sound pretty weird for me to say this because I've been constantly saying that I don't want to see The Undertaker at WrestleMania. But when I got the news that The Undertaker took all of his WWE off of social media, it kind of made me sad. I don't want to see The Undertaker doing bookings for other companies. I don't want to think about The Undertaker not being affiliated with the WWE. So whatever happened to make the WWE and The Undertaker fall out this week has got me perplexed. So that's my con.
Well, honestly, probably what happened is The Undertaker caught wind of our show and seen you and Derek saying, I don't want to see an Undertaker match at WrestleMania. And he's like, no, what? Screw those guys. I'm not going to WrestleMania this year.
And, that's fine. But to pull yourself away from the WWE, like, The Undertaker and the WWE go together like peanut butter and jelly. And, I want my jelly. You know what I mean?
Hey, I like jelly. I like my peanut butter, too. But I can't eat bread no more where I'm a brand new diabetic. I got to stay away from the bread, the doctor told me. But I thought you were going a different or I thought you was going more in depth with the news sources this week, because as you guys know, I'm usually the one that tries to grab a couple topics for us to talk about here on the show, news wise, and it was back and forth all week long. This is going to happen. Well, no, that. And it was driving me bonkers. So I'm with you on your con there. I didn't even think about that angle, but that's pretty accurate in my eyes. Derek, what is your con of the week, my friend?
Well, before I jump into my con, can I just say domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, for that con that you brought us, Mr. Resner. In your pixelated voice, it was, I got to go with John on your internet. It's kind of rough there. But,
is that your con this week, too?
Man.
It is what it is.
Well, you got Frontier, Brian?
No, I got CenturyLink.
That's that Florida crap. I don't know nothing about all that. We got him all tore up now, Derek. Check him out. He's up browsing the house, trying to get him to get connection.
I'm getting closer. getting closer to my Wi-Fi there.
All right, so my con of the week has got to be, and we've talked a little bit here and there, but my con of the week has got to be them teasing already the addition of Charlotte Flair in the main event of WrestleMania with Becky and Ronda. I don't want her there. She doesn't belong there.
But
let's go one-on-one. I hate the triple threat for the world title at WrestleMania. I don't think it's right. I think it should be one-on-one matches. The only exception is, the mysterious Money in the Bank cash-ins. Is it's not something you plan, so it makes it a little different. But to already have a plan in place, to have a triple threat going into WrestleMania for a title, I don't like it. I don't agree with it.
Well, I, for one, I'm kind of enjoying the way they're presenting Charlotte right now because it's ha ha ha, who are you? I deserve this spot type deal. And I think it's great. And I'll actually roll from that, Derek, and go to my con because my con is in the same area. My con is how they're presenting this Stone Cold Steve Austin storyline with Becky Lynch. I'm not a fan of it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. You can go in there and slap Triple H and, I mean, you're suspended. Okay, you can't be here. But then we'll let you jump the barricade and climb in the ring. You got to give me some believability with my wrestling. I know it's a work, but you got to make it make sense for me. And I'm just not a fan of it. I don't think Becky's as great as what everybody says she is. She's probably the hottest thing on WWE right now because she's getting a lot of TV time. She's getting the storyline. But I honestly don't think she's that great. And I honestly would rather see Charlotte and Becky versus either one of them against Ronda Rousey. I don't have anything for Ronda Rousey. I mean, her name was cool. She's been there for a year. Okay, cool. She sold some pay-per-views, whatever. See you later. Go start your family or whatever you want to do. But I just don't like the Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I know in wrestling it is hard not to repeat a storyline. I mean, there's only so many ways you can go, but it just feels very Stone Cold Steve Austin-ish to me. Am I wrong, or does it kind of feel that way to you guys too?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture between two things. I was rewatching it today, and I'm not only is the attitude coming across as against the authority, that type of Stone Cold that you're looking at, but I think they're trying to recreate the whole Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 moment. I mean, the ultimate underdog coming in with the injury, going to overcome all the odds.
She sold the wrong leg too. I don't know if you guys caught that, but
yeah.
You had one job, Becky. Come on. Brian said, hell with y'all. I'm turning the lights off.
You're on the internet. You're on the internet. Get off the internet.
Uh-oh.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
Somebody still on the bandwidth?
Trying to fix the internet situation.
It seems to be a little bit more fluent now.
All right, good.
So we'll see what happens. So that was your con, Derek?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can get with that con because I was really upset over the fact that Becky Lynch slapped Triple H too, and I kind of wanted him to hit her back, but I guess it's good that he didn't.
Derek, I got to throw this out here for you, bro. This guy's still running his mouth. Michael Loving says Derek Jones does not know what he's talking about. Want to challenge him one-on-one. My call is that Mike Loving came in the Ramble Rumble early. Hey, it's luck of the draw, baby. That's how it goes.
It doesn't matter where you enter. It matters where you finish. If you come in first and you still win, nobody cares where you started. They only care about who won. And Richie won because he was the better man. Last year's Royal Rumble, we all started number one, and I still won, Mike Loving. If you can't hang in through 12 competitors, I know you can't hang with me.
Oh, what
True
a
story.
promo.
True story. I'm going to go ahead and start on the pros this week, guys, because I'm afraid one of you guys are going to steal my pro. My pro was the RKO on Mustafa Ali. That was great. Loved it. Which I know you guys are probably going to be like, Randy Orton don't need the Mustafa Ali's the future. I get it. But the RKO was great. I loved it. It wasn't quite as good as the one he did to Seth Rollins a couple years ago at Mania, but it was still entertaining for me.
The greatest RKO of all time is still Evan Bourne.
I don't know. I beg to differ, man. Whenever he did it to when he tried to do the curb stomp to Randy Orton, and Orton launched him like 15 feet in the air, and then caught him with the RKO. That was pretty intense.
That was cool. It was definitely number 2. But Evan Bourne doing the shooting star press and getting RKO'd was pretty amazing.
But it was kind of sloppy. That's the only problem with that one for me. I mean, yeah, it was cool, it was great, but it was sloppy.
But he come from off his back. He was on his feet when he hit Seth Rollins because he catapulted Rollins in the air. When he hit Evan Bourne, he was laying flat on his back and did it.
Yeah.
You're right, he did. I mean, it was impressive, don't get me wrong, but for me, the Seth Rollins one was the best of all time. We're going to have a show at some point, and that'll be our weekly topic, best RKO out of nowhere of all time.
Well, you know, the best RKO out of nowhere was probably done by DDP and WCW.
Which one was that?
There was millions of RKOs done by DDP. They were called the Diamond Cutter.
When they thought he was joining the NWO.
Yeah, that was
he
good.
Put the shirt on and then spun Hall around and hit him. That's probably the best one.
Derek Jones, what was your pro of the week, my friend?
So this one was tough. It was really tough because I really wanted to go with Becky Lynch and everything she did, but I think I got to go with Halftime Heat. That 6-man was just unbelievable.
I still haven't watched it. I was too busy watching Adam Levine's nipples with the family. I missed it.
See,
I watched it afterwards.
It doesn't matter.
I watched it later.
It wouldn't matter when you watch it. You should go back and watch it if you've not seen it yet. It's one of the best matches I've seen on NXT TV.
Nice.
It's incredible. They really were trying to gain fans on that one.
Yeah.
I will definitely check it out. Brian, what is your pro of the week, my friend?
My pro of the week is the 24-year-old or 23-year-old piece of gold, Lio Rush versus Finn Balor. That was absolutely amazing. I loved seeing Lio Rush versus Finn Balor. Everything Lio Rush does is 100% awesome in my world. I've become the biggest Lio Rush fan. I like him more than Eli Drake.
Really?
I love him.
Wow. How did you guys feel about Dean Ambrose doing the favor for EC3 this week?
I liked it.
Look, if you're on the way out the door anyway, why not? Why not help some of these younger guys that have the option to take your place when you leave?
I agree.
Let
was
the
nice
other
to see
company
that.
know that you can do business.
I'm proud of you, boys. We got through the pros and the cons in 15 minutes this week. Usually it takes us about 25, 30.
Nice.
So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on and talk a little bit about some other stuff going on in the rest of the world. Ladies and gentlemen at home, anytime you guys want to call in and chime in with what we're rambling about, you're more than welcome. The number's on the screen, 304-712-6753. We try to go to the Facebook comments periodically throughout the show, but it's hard to keep the ball rolling and read everything you guys write. So if you really want to say something, if you want to get your 2 cents in, call us up. We'd love to hear from you. We'll start here. Sports Illustrated said that Triple H won't be cleared by WrestleMania. Batista was supposed to be working with Triple H at Mania, but as of right now, it looks like there's no plan to use Batista on the big show. Is that a pro or a con for you guys?
Oh, man, it's a con for me. I really wanted to see Batista and Triple H. I always want to see Triple H at WrestleMania. It's like the opposite of The Undertaker for me.
Yeah, Triple H is entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I look at Triple H as the new, feature point of WrestleMania. He's taken that spot of The Undertaker where he doesn't have to wrestle for a belt. He's a spectacle within himself because you don't get to see him compete every day.
I'm sorry, did you say testicle?
Spectacle.
Oh, glasses. I got you.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm not in studio. This right here.
This is why I moved to Florida, John.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
He's become that highlight feature himself. So to see Triple H at WrestleMania is just it's the new excitement of the show.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well said, my friend. Lars Sullivan was supposed to be in Rowan's spot, but his whole panic attack. Brian, I ain't gonna get you started on that, but Lars Sullivan was supposed to be in Rowan's spot allegedly, and I think that would have made more sense for me because I'm not much of a Rowan guy. Nothing against him. I just don't feel like he fits in that storyline at all.
But Lars Sullivan has the personality of a styrofoam cup.
That is true.
But Daniel Bryan don't need anybody with personality, really.
But the great thing about Rowan is he's intelligent enough to be able to have these promos and conversations with Bryan in ring to make people feel alienated. Lars Sullivan would look at Daniel Bryan with the most bumfuzzled look on his face every time Daniel Bryan would just say fickle and have no clue what he's talking about.
That's true.
Fickle.
You know what I did like? You know what I liked about Rowan this week? He had on an Amon Amarth shirt.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. I actually was in a Amon Amarth mosh pit by mistake once. It was one of the most violent things I've ever done in my life. For real.
You lived to tell about it, though, so it must have been worth it.
Well, I mean, I lived to tell about it because I ran. It was a crazy little sidebar here. I was at Rock on the Range. We're looking at this huge Viking ship that's being built on stage, and we're getting close to it, checking it out. I noticed that there's all kinds of people wearing Viking helmets and things like that. Then they come outside and start playing, and the entire place erupts. It was the most violent mosh pit I've ever been a part of in my life, and we got the hell out of there.
Gotta go.
It was a bunch of people that looked just like Rowan with Viking helmets on. Crazy.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'd have to go too. I ain't stick around for that. Maybe.
No, it was nuts.
Maybe when I was extremely inebriated, when I was like 18, 19, but not now. I gotta go. I got stuff to do tomorrow, guys. Sorry. Let's move on. The Young Bucks showed up at the Come Hell or High Water event in Atlanta over the weekend and offered Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. AEW contracts. But they can't actually sign with them because they are still under contract with Lucha Underground. They are working on a per-match agreement. And I think this is great for AEW to be able to do this. And I'm afraid they're going to end up running into some problems with some other promotions, Impact, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, possibly even New Japan at some point. How do you guys feel about that? Them kind of sharing talent. I think it's a great thing, but that's just me.
Honestly, I believe, and I'm not to cut Derek off before he got to answer, but I believe that the sharing talent, if AEW starts sharing talent, they're going to be no different than ROH. They're going to be no different than all the other people that are like, or Impact. Impact shares talent with everybody. New Japan shares talent with everybody. ROH shares talent with everybody, and that makes all them secondary. If they're going to be competition with the WWE, they need to have exclusive performers that do not perform anywhere but AEW. Period.
Derek, what do you say?
I completely agree. The only talent you should ever want to share is maybe some of your younger undercard guys that you want to build a name for themselves, let them get exposure elsewhere. But if you've got top-tier talent, especially guys like Pentagon and Ray Phoenix, guys that you can make money off of in different ways, you want to make sure that the only place you can see them is on AEW TV. If you want to watch Seth Rollins right now, guess what? WWE. If you want to watch John Cena when he makes his returns, WWE TV. It's the only place you can do it, and that's the only way you're going to be successful.
I wouldn't even share my young guys. I would not even share the bottom-tier guys. I wouldn't share anybody. Everybody that's AEW needs to be AEW, period, in my opinion. All
right, guys. I got to take this real quick. Michael Loving says, Brian Resner, I want to face the so-called champion Derek the week before WrestleMania. And WrestleMania knowledge, do you accept my challenge, Derek? Michael Loving, that is when Richie Acevedo is facing Derek for the Royal Ramble championship. You lost your opportunity, bud. Get over it. Get in the back of the line. You think you're just going to jump in front of Richie like that?
And why is he asking me? I'm not the boss. I'm not the boss of this show. I work for John Covey Cole. I don't know what you think I can do for you.
I guess he's thinking you're very persuasive. If he can get you over, then you'll get me over. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, though, is even if he could get you guys over, he's not going to get me over. He had an opportunity, and that opportunity has to be earned. And if you want to go with me, you've got to earn it.
Had your chance. That's twice tonight we've given you the rub there, Michael. So you're welcome. Jimmy Havoc will be working under a similar deal as Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. I'm not familiar with Jimmy Havoc, but I've read a lot of great things about him. I'm going to have to check him out. You guys familiar with him?
I am.
Not as much as Derek, probably. I think I've read about him. I haven't actually seen him perform.
Well, in your defense, Brian, you're stuck in 92, and Derek is kind of a connoisseur.
Jimmy Havoc was nowhere near 92 WCW, so I don't know who he is.
Right. It's AEW has reportedly made a WWE superstar a huge offer, and it's reportedly Randy Orton. I think this would be huge for AEW if they could bring him in. How do you guys feel about it? I know he's been around longer. It would be taking away one of the younger guys' spot, but he is a name, and people know who he is, and he's got a lot of history in the business. How do you guys feel about that?
If WWE was a house, Randy Orton would live in the basement. It's not. You can't come and get Randy Orton. That's like saying AEW offered Triple H some money. It doesn't matter. Randy's not leaving. If Randy would leave, I would be shocked. Like if someone told you right now that Shawn Michaels was going to show up on AEW TV, would you believe them? I wouldn't. That would be a shocker. Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Triple H, these are mainstays. But I will say this, I thought Undertaker was a mainstay until this week. So who knows?
Derek, what do you say, bud?
Well, just to kind of touch on your original comment, I've read 4 different names. One of them was Orton, but I've read 3 others that they made the same offer to. I think it's speculation. I don't really think it's Randy Orton. I think that's just something somebody's got flying around out there. The other 2 that are very possible, one was AJ Styles and one was Dean Ambrose, that have been made big-time offers.
What about Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar was also supposedly made an offer.
That was one of the original names that I heard, but I don't believe that it's factual.
I'm actually looking forward to our topic in 2 weeks, guys. It's not going to be next week, but it's going to be the week after. I'm not going to spill the beans until next week. Derek and Brian, of course, I'll let you guys know off the air if you're interested. But in 2 weeks, we're going to have a very interesting debate, and I can't wait. But for now, let's move on. The Usos.
Wait. You can't move on until I say this last thing about what you just said.
Okay.
You just said AJ Styles. Said AJ Styles, and I will share this information with you. I have really good source inside the WWE that tells me that they hang out with AJ every single chance they get, and AJ is not going anywhere. And that he has told them and anyone who will listen that he is staying right where he's at.
It's people talking just to be talking, I think. Until it happens in the wrestling world. That's the beautiful thing about wrestling, though. You can never say never. You know, an asteroid could hit the Earth tomorrow, and next week Triple H sign with AEW. Do I think it would happen? No. But I'm saying that's the beautiful thing about wrestling is you never know, man. Anything can happen.
That's true.
And what I love about this whole AEW push is, like I said when they first announced everything a couple of weeks ago with Jericho and everybody at the press conference, it's not so much AEW itself that is exciting me. It's the unpredictability of wrestling with contracts and which wrestler's going here, which wrestler's not going to go there. It's exciting to be a wrestling fan right now.
It's true.
But anyway,
you know what? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I was going to say, you know what I'm looking forward to, which if doesn't happen, may be a really big thorn in AEW's side, is they need to sign some freaking writers.
They got Billy Gunn.
That's a producer, and I would not want him producing anything.
Yeah. It's reported that the Usos' contract is up in April, and AEW is interested in them. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Once again, you're messing with a family that's not going to leave the WWE. I mean, Every single member of their family has been in the WWE, and why would they leave? It doesn't even make sense for the Usos to leave. They are mainstays in the WWE, in my opinion.
I agree with that, but let me run this. How awesome would it be to be able to see the Usos versus the Guerrillas of Destiny in AEW?
That would be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. But here's a question. Who says the Guerrillas of Destiny are going to AEW?
They'll go.
You sure?
Yeah, they'll go.
I don't know.
I know AEW is more fixated, or appears to be more fixated on tag team wrestling. I remember when you guys laughed at me when I told you that the Revival was going to end up there, but it's possible.
I personally think that if you're going to see the Guerrillas of Destiny versus the Usos, it'll be in a WWE ring, because I feel like the Guerrillas of Destiny are going to WWE.
I'm not even familiar with Guerrillas of Destiny. Didn't they sing that song about sunshine in a bag or something?
No, that's the wrong deal.
Happening.
But you know what? They're family with the Usos.
Yeah, but WWE's already tried to sign Tama Tonga, and he turned them down.
I don't know.
Within like the last 6 months, he turned them down.
Kenny Dunn has an interesting point here. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be great if it did. He said, CM Punk to AEW? What do you think?
Definitely get them off on the right foot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, CM Punk should go to AEW. AEW stands for everything that he basically ruined his freaking life for. You know, if I don't understand why CM Punk wouldn't go to AEW. To me, at this point, CM Punk is doing nothing but crappy things to himself and his fans by not showing up somewhere. If he's not going to show up in AEW, he might as well come back to the WWE.
May as well, but I don't know if we'll ever see it or not. PW Insider reported that the Hart Foundation will be going into the Hall of Fame this year. That includes Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, and Jimmy Hart. Far too often with the WWE Hall of Fame, it seems like somebody's got to die before they put them in the Hall of Fame. I hate that.
Yeah, it does suck.
But it's good for them. I guess Jimmy Hart, baby, and Bret Hart can come in.
Let me ask this question. Is Bret Hart already in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Are you sure? I think he is, Derek. I think whenever he come back and made amends with everybody, he went in that year, I think, didn't he? Pretty sure he did.
No, we need to check on that. We need to check on that, because if so, he'll be the second man to go into the Hall of Fame twice.
2 times. 2 times. Pulled up on my Google machine here.
I swear one day Conrad's going to sue you.
Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, 2006, Bret Hart went in.
Yeah. So Bret Hart will be the second man to go into the Hall of Fame twice.
Who's the first one?
Ric Flair.
That was a joke. I know who it was. Seth Rollins is suffering from a back injury, and they say he won't be able to get physical for the next month. I think that's bad timing if it's true, but you would think if he had a bad back, then they wouldn't have let Lesnar beat the hell out of him last week. You know what I mean?
That's true. So, I don't know.
Which, I'm sorry, I love Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania just isn't super appealing to me. Not, I'm saying I think it's gonna be a bad match, but it's just not what I've come accustomed to with matches. And it's just my opinion, of course, but that's how I feel. It was also reported by Dave Meltzer that AJ Styles has a hernia, and AJ has since said that was not true. So it's killing me.
You can't trust Dave Meltzer.
No, you can't.
So the AJ not signing a contract, AJ himself tweeted out that, because somebody said that AJ had signed a new deal, and he said, and the response was, "Did I? I don't remember doing that, but please let me know what it's all about."
Could be working you, brother.
It could
I'm pretty sure that the WWE is. I guarantee that there's a meeting going on every week at the WWE of how can we play this AEW thing to our advantage, and I think that that's how.
Yeah,
they're going to be playing with people.
If you're a top tier talent, how could you play that to your advantage to get more money and a better schedule?
From what I understand, there are lots of guys playing that right now. There are a lot of guys who haven't signed their deals yet that plan on signing their deals. They're just trying to get as much as they can and the best situations possible. Our friend Heath Slater, a friend of the show, a friend of me, he has not signed his contract.
Smart. He needs to hold out as long as he can.
I think a lot of it, too, is the boys just working the fans, which I absolutely love. You know, AJ Styles could have already signed a contract, and he could just be saying, have I signed one? You know, am I going to go there? Am I staying here? That would be good for business if that's what's going on, and I'm sure somebody somewhere is doing that.
Keeping everybody on their toes.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? If they're not doing things like that, we're not having this show. I mean, that's the greatest thing about pro wrestling.
I'm about to break Derek Jones' heart since he's such a huge fan. We're not likely to see John Cena until WrestleMania.
Oh.
And honestly, once you get there, probably won't see him then either. So
you don't think he's going to be at WrestleMania?
I said once we get there, we won't be able to see him either.
Oh,
can you see me? Come on, Brian. Come on.
Did y'all see that they made him a translucent pop vinyl?
I did. That's great.
Super cool. Not a fan, but I might have to get one of those.
You already have one. Don't lie.
Melvin Ross says, love the Hogan background, Resner.
Yeah, he's been standing behind me the whole show. He's a fan.
I wish you'd hurt and rip that shirt. His arms got to be getting tired by now.
Yeah, he's just holding it up there.
Last but not least, Priscilla Kelly is at it again this past weekend. She puked on her opponent to get the win, which I'm oddly okay with that as opposed to taking your tampon out and shoving it down somebody's mouth.
She's really going for that disgusting card every week, huh?
Well, it got everybody talking about her, so she's like, how can I keep it going? Let's see.
Well, the day she defecates on her opponent will be the day that it really goes south.
It's going to be a handicap match, 2 girls versus 1 man. In a world. Hey, on that note, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come right back and talk about our weekly topic, which is who has the best wrestling family other than the McMahons. We'll be right back.
February the 8th, Marmet, West Virginia, Marmet Rec Center. You're going to see yours truly, the AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Darkstorm, taking on a prominent member of Sports Entertainment Express, Crosshairs Kelly. And Crosshairs Kelly, I've picked you to issue this challenge because you seem to be the most excited. You seem to be the most upbeat. You seem to be the most into attacking people from behind, kicking them in the face. I'm going to take you guys out one by one for what you did to me. It starts with you, Kelly. It ends with you, Nate Rose. Kevin, Rocky, you aren't safe either. February 8th, it's me and you, Kelly. I'm going to beat you in front of all your homies. And there's 2 things you can do about that. Actually, 1. Nothing.
The year was 1996, February 11th, 23 years ago, Super Brawl 6. Brian Pillman was scheduled to go up against Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster, in an I Respect You strap match. The match just lasted 59 seconds and the bout come to a sudden stop when Pillman grabbed the microphone from referee Jimmy Jett and said, I respect you, Booker man, making a reference that Kevin Sullivan was the head booker at WCW at the time. The Booker man reference was removed from all replays and commercial release of the event, but it still remains on the WWE Network version, which is on the original pay-per-view broadcast. Brian Pillman, who was working the loose cannon gimmick at the time, was to go to ECW to fine-tune the gimmick and then return sometime after a Conquering Hero. Except he never got around to returning a Conquering Hero. 4 months later, Brian Pillman, while on the disabled list thanks to an auto accident, signed the first fully guaranteed contract in WWF history, making this 59-second Donnybrook Brian Pillman's final WCW appearance. That was This Week in Wrestling History with John Covey Cole. All right, guys, welcome back. I've been telling you guys all week that we were going to talk about it, and we might as well talk about it now. Who has the best wrestling family other than the McMahons? The reason I excluded the McMahons because the McMahons, I mean, they're great. They've done so much in the business. A lot of people don't realize it, but I read this about the McMahon family. The McMahon name has long been synonymous with sports entertainment, but few realize the family was involved in professional wrestling since before the first television was even invented. In the 1920s, Jess McMahon began promoting matches in the New York City area during the industry's early boom. When he died in 1954, his son, Vincent McMahon, took over the business and became one of the most respected and admired promoters. I didn't realize it dated back that far, but that's pretty awesome.
It really is.
So, Brian, I'm guessing I know who your pick's going to be. Derek, I'm guessing that whoever you are going to pick is on my list of hopefuls here, but I'm not sure who you're going to pick. That being said, Brian, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Who do you think is the best wrestling family other than the McMahons?
Well, I am eliminating the Inokis before I even get started, just because it's the obvious choice. The Inoki family is the greatest wrestling family of all time. They are not my pick because I think that the deck is too stacked, and I think they should be added to the list of other thans. So I'm going to go with the Harts. And I go with the Harts because the Harts, it's not just a family. Like the Inoki, they are a dynasty. And they're a dynasty that helped train so many wrestlers in the business that their influence goes beyond the family. Now, when you think about the Hart dynasty not only produced Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Stu Hart, but the entire Stampede promotion was produced by the Hart family. When you look back, Bret Hart was in the first ladder match of all time as the 17-year-old kid holding the ladder, because the ladder was not double-sided at that time. It was hooked to a scaffold, and they had to have somebody spotting the ladder. And that was a 17-year-old Bret Hart. You also got to look at Rowdy Piper is in that Hart family. I mean, he's involved in the Hart family. You look at Chris Jericho. He was trained by the Harts. Chris Benoit, he was trained by the Harts. There's so many different wrestlers that came from the Hart family, whether being related or just directly involved, that in my opinion, the Hart family is the greatest wrestling family.
That's I figured you was going to go with the Inoki family, but I like your angle there. You kind of switched it up because, like you said, I wasn't going to pick them for a lot of the same reasons, but they're stacked. I mean, they've done so much in this business, and they're still producing guys. I seen the other day where they got a new kid now out wrestling. I can't remember his name, but he's doing his thing. He's young. But yeah, that was a good choice, my friend. Derek, do you want to go or do you want me to go, bro?
I'm going to go because you're going to ramble off your list of people after you do yours anyway. Because you do your research and you look for all the great wrestling families. And there's not a whole lot of like true, extended wrestling families that you could talk about. So, I mean, 10 or 15 really that you could pick from. Like you said, the Inoue family you really don't want to touch on because obviously they're kind of the front runners. And I would even put them over the McMahons in sense of, in-ring entertainment, not just what they've done for the business itself, but as far as a wrestling family. I would put them over the McMahons in my opinion. So I do agree with Brian that we should add them to that, asterisk list. And I thought about the Hearts, that they have done a lot. Like you said, that you brought up the Stampede Wrestling, anybody that come through that, including, D.H. Smith and Tyson Kidd now even, they're still producing people to this day. Natalia Neidhart's coming from that family. So I had to avoid that one too because I felt like they're up there. So I went a little further south for mine, and I was really stuck between two families, and I'm going to touch on the last one as soon as I tell you my pick, just because of what's current in WWE and in the wrestling world. But I picked the Guerrero family. I mean, you got Gory Guerrero all the way back in the 60s. He's got his three sons, Hector, Mondo, and Chavo Sr., going through the 70s and the 80s. And then you got, Chavo Jr. coming up through the 90s and now. And then, I mean, you can't not talk about Eddie Guerrero. He, first Mexican-American to ever win the WWE World title.
Mexican-American.
One of the absolute greatest in-ring and out-of-ring performers you had ever seen. Period. Even Eddie, in his younger WCW days, that ability and skill and that attitude that he carried would still hold up in wrestling today because he was that good.
I remember when Eddie Guerrero come on the scene in WCW, and most of my peers were all like, yeah, Rey Mysterio Jr., and I'm like, hell with that. You seen this Eddie Guerrero guy?
Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko in early WCW. Those were some of the best matches you'll ever see on Nitro. And they never got the real spotlight they deserved, but if you want true technical, hard-hitting wrestling, that's where it was. It was unreal.
I got my list here, Derek.
Well, who's the other family you were going to touch on before he goes to his list?
So the other
you sound so excited, Brian.
So the other family that I want to touch on, and it's because of everything that's in recent now. You've got to say the Rhodes. Cody Rhodes could turn into be the next Vince McMahon. You just don't know until they really get going.
I say, hold up right there. See, that's why I wasn't going to go ahead and let you get your second one in because that's my number one. You're absolutely
your
right.
number one is the Rhodes family.
Yeah, my pick's the Rhodes family.
I was about to tell Derek he can't pick them because it's only 3 dudes.
But still,
go ahead,
I mean, look what Dusty Rhodes did for the business. Look how relevant Goldust has been in the last 20 years. Look what Cody Rhodes is doing right now. You can't tell me that even though it's just 3 guys, they have not been impactful for the business.
Oh, they definitely have, but they're not like this family dynasty because there's only 3 of them.
Okay, Von Erichs. Who's left? Lacey?
Oh, there's 2 left. There's Kevin and Lacey, but still, you're talking about 5 kids and the father. Fritz Von Erich trained Bruiser freaking Brody.
Hey, he's dead.
But still, I mean, the Von Erichs were a very powerful family, and they, just like the Harts, they totally influenced a whole group of people, including having their own promotion, which is a big deal. And I'm not trying to fight for the Von Erichs over the Rhodeses. I love Dusty Rhodes. I love Cody Rhodes. I love Goldust. But I wouldn't pick them as my family because there's only 3 dudes.
But if you get that 3 dudes breeding other people.
All right, so let's go from there because there's only 3 dudes, but then there was Terry. I mean, Marlene, she married into the family. She's part of the family. And now you got Brandy. She married into the family.
What about Sapphire?
She count?
5.
Sapphire count?
Sapphire should count, I guess. We're going to make them a family.
Pharaoh had his own line at StarCast.
Who's
he's
Pharaoh?
A dog. Cody's
he's a dog. Oh. Okay.
Had his own group and line at StarCast.
I've been proven wrong. There's a big Rhodes dynasty I didn't even know about.
I'll tell you another 3-piece, Brian, was the Ortons. That was on my list as well. And actually, we've touched on everybody. The Von Erichs, like you said, that was hard not to pick. The only reason I didn't pick them was because of just so much that Dusty Rhodes did for the business. The Bunkhouse Stampede, which stemmed the Royal Rumble. Dusty did a lot of bad too, but it's just a culmination of all he did for the business And then,
I
like I
thought you were going
mentioned,
to say. I thought you were going to say the reason you didn't pick the Von Erichs was because there was so much death.
there was a lot of death. That's like a Marshall plane crash, man. And the last one I had on my list was the Guerreros. So you guys did me proud this week. You guys almost touched on every one of my list before I even got there, which is always fun.
Well, you're missing some key families.
Well, I just did a highlight. Go ahead and throw some out there if you'd like, Brian.
Well, there's the Hennigs. The Hennigs, Larry the Axe, Mr.
The
Perfect,
Hennigs?
and Hennigs.
It's that Mandela effect. I swear it was Hennig.
It is the Mandela effect, but still. The Hennigs, they're out there, and you also, if you're talking about a three-piece, that's a mean three-piece. And then also the Armstrongs. The Armstrongs do a lot for wrestling. Bullet Bob and his kids were a big part of wrestling, and hell, the Road Dogg writes SmackDown every week. So, they're still influencing wrestling. Actually, when I was a young child, I got the opportunity to go to Smoky Mountain Wrestling and got the VIP ticket, which gave me a steak dinner with the wrestlers. I actually got to sit across from Ricky Morton. I was like 9 years old, and then Jim Cornette was on one side of me, and Bullet Bob Armstrong was on the other. And it was interesting because at that time I absolutely hated Jim Cornette. So I was pissed off about the fact that I was sitting beside a Jim Cornette. And now, of course, I would be totally marking out. But back then I was like, oh, why did I have to sit beside Jim Cornette and not Ricky Morton? But if I had to choose now, there's no way I would sit beside Ricky Morton instead of Jim Cornette. But Bullet Bob Armstrong was sitting right beside of me. So I got to sit between Jim Cornette and Bullet Bob.
Back to the Rhodes family or the Runnels family. Kenny Dunn says, "What about Dusty's plumber father? He's part of the wrestling business. He was in one of the best plumbers of all time.
The son of a plumber.
The son of a plumber, if you will, guys. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, if you will, and we're gonna come back with Resner's rants, Daddy.
That's right, baby.
We'll be right back."
Two attorneys, one location. Gavin Ward and Josh Miller.
Hello, my name's Gavin Ward. I'm an attorney serving Southern West Virginia. If you need help with a real estate transaction or closing, probating an estate, a property dispute, estate planning, or bankruptcy, give us a call. We can help.
Hello, I'm attorney Josh Miller. I serve Southern West Virginia. If you've been injured in a car accident or hurt on the job or charged with a crime, please come see me today. I can help.
For a free consultation, call 681-207-7400.
Dorsey's Hog Tails, located on U.S. Route 60 just off of Route 19 and just past Midland Trail High School. There's always something going on at Dorsey's, and you can bet that whatever it is, it's a good time. Be sure to try some of the best food in Southern West Virginia. Then, you can sharpen those billiard skills with a relaxing game of pool. Dorsey's also offers some of the best live local music in the region on most weekends. So what are you waiting for? Stop in and see what makes Dorsey's so great. That's Dorsey's Hog Tails, located on U.S. Route 60 just off of Route 19 in Hyco.
Dunbar, West Virginia. International Combat Sports. Eric Darkstorm versus Mr. Zero Gravity A.J. Daniels. And with that said, Eric, I must say, this will be my first chance at the AIWF Heavyweight Championship. But with this first chance, I will not, I repeat, I will not let it slip through my hands. So come February, Eric, hope that you're willing. And I hope that you're ready to defy gravity. Because if not, you shall rest in outer space.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Resner's Rants. And this week, I've got to talk about podcasts. One podcast in particular. Now, I'm a big podcast fan. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Of course, I listen to Something to Wrestle With. Of course, I listen to 83 Weeks. Of course, I listen to even that terrible Tony Schiavone show every now and then. But I have found a new one that I've got to listen to, and I will start this with a disclaimer by saying that I have a love-hate relationship with Vince Russo. Vince Russo did a lot of great things. He wrote a lot of really great things, and I'm a huge fan of writers. Therefore, there are things that I love about Vince Russo. But I've listened to his brand new podcast, Truth with Consequences, hosted by Matt Kuhn. And that is where my rant comes in. Because, first of all, when I listen to Something to Wrestle With and I hear Bruce Pritchard make fun of Vince Russo, I always thought, well, he's embellishing. You know, he's trying to make Vince Russo sound stupid or something of that nature. Then I listen to the podcast and find out, no, Bruce is just doing 100% accurate depiction of Vince's actual voice. He really does talk like that. He says bro about 700 times an episode. I thought that was an embellishment. Turns out, no. He says bro in every single sentence. Now, also, I found that he also says, hey, Matt, can I tell you something? Matt, can I tell you something? Every 36 seconds. It drives me absolutely insane. But the stories he tells are stories I want to hear. The things that he's telling you are things that I want to know about. So I continue to listen. And of course, there are some episodes and some pieces of every episode that are really amazing and definitely worth listening to. But then there's this other thing that I have to complain about. Matt Kuhn. Matt Kuhn. Okay, obviously you want to be like Conrad, and that's okay. Conrad is amazing, and I understand that you want to have a show as good as Conrad's show. Well, you know what Conrad does? Research. He knows his stuff. He goes through, he interviews people, and he has all of the information right there in front of him. He doesn't stumble on things. He doesn't say the wrong name for matches. He doesn't say anything that's out of the ordinary crazy. He gets his research, he does it, and then he produces a good show because of it. Research. You want to say that you're a fan, you're a wrestling fan like Conrad or like us that are listening to this show? Then do your research and ask the right questions. There are things that I want to know for Vince Russo, and you never ask the right questions to get that information. So then after the show, I'm still left wondering, what did Vince mean here? What did this mean? Who was this person? Pronouns, pal. Pronouns. I need to know what Vince is talking about at all times. And you're not asking the right questions because you don't know the right questions because you're not doing the research. Now, Matt, I'm not trying to hate on you, buddy. I really like you. And I want you to do good. And I want this show to be amazing. And I want to listen to it and love every second of it. You're screwing it up for me. So change it. Do your research. Listen to what you're supposed to listen to. Have your information ready. And ask the right questions so that I can get the Vince Russo podcast that I really want. And if you can't do it, Vince, call me. I promise you. Truth with Consequences with Brian Resner and Vince Russo would really make a lot of sense because I know what questions to ask you. I know how to call you out on your bullshit, and I know how to put you over like the genius that you are. So, come on, Matt Kuhn. You can do better than this. You can do better than this. That's this week's Resner's Rant.
Man, somebody's a little worked up over there, Derek.
Whew, my goodness.
Brian,
I'm
you all
just
right?
glad that I am not Matt Kuhn. It's almost
Well, it's a rant for a reason, guys. You wanted me to be worked up, right? That's what you want out of me. I'm the monkey. You tell me when to dance, and I dance.
I'm very proud of you guys. You know why?
Why?
You guys may not even realize what was going on, but there was a joke last week, or it may not have been a joke, but I was like, an hour and a half. We need to go an hour and a half, 2 hours. We need to do this. We have almost got the whole show in, and we're still under an hour's time. And I'm very proud of you guys.
John, don't test us.
Hey,
Yeah, we can keep talking.
Hey, I got the finalize
We'll
button
ramble.
right here.
Hey, you can go back to that rant screen, and I can keep going about Vince Russo for about 15 more minutes if you want.
I was actually about to give you the wrap it up, Brian. You did good, though. You come back just in time.
All right.
But you're right. I don't know if you guys listened to why it ended with Robbie E. and Matt Coon, but they just wrapped it up today, which is unfortunate because I really enjoyed that show. They would go back and find wrestlers that weren't wrestlers per se anymore and kind of educate people on them. You had Robbie E.
It was a really good show.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
It was a really good show. I can't believe they wrapped it up.
Matt Coon's going to be doing something else next week on the same platform, so I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, but Robbie E's not going to be participating, so I have to just wait and see.
Maybe he can interview Robbie E on why it ended.
I think he actually did that one time. I could be wrong.
Well, I'm talking about the show.
I think he did that on the show is what I'm saying.
Well, what I'm saying is he could interview him again and ask him why the show ended.
Well, that's what today's show was about. Today's show was why it ended.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I need to listen to it.
It's only about a half hour long. It's all right. Derek, are you going to come back and see me next week, or are you going to stay in Florida with Brian?
I mean, it's nice. It's nice, you know.
Yeah, you know what they say? A bad day in Florida is still freaking Florida, and it's awesome.
What if I promise not to sing at all on the show next week?
If you promise
BS.
If you promise not to sing, I might fly back in from Florida.
Hey, Holes, I did a cover of So Cold last
what?
night. It was great. Check it out. It's awesome. Anyway, go ahead.
That's what I was getting. Actually, I was getting ready to say that, and you blew it for me because I was going to say. Actually, I heard you sing last night, and it was awesome. And it was your version of So Cold by Breaking Benjamins.
Yeah.
That was really good, John, man. I really enjoyed that. I listened to it 3 times already. I listened to it on my way to work today, too.
Nice.
I loved it. It was a really good rendition of So Cold. So if anybody's watching and you want to hear John Covey sing for real and actually do a good job, you should really do it when he's doing his acoustic guitar thing, because it's a lot better than the little snippets you get on the Royal Ramble.
And I'll actually go ahead and take that chance to plug a show we have this Saturday. It's this Saturday in Lewisburg at the Asylum. Me and Jason Brown's going to be there playing. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of what I do on the show.
Jason Brown is one of the coolest guys on earth.
Oh, he'd do anything in the world for you, man. He'd give you the shirt off his back. You hear that saying all the time, but that's Jason all day.
I love Jason Brown like a brother.
I've been trying to train my kids how to play so they can be my guys, you know what I mean?
I thought you were saying that you were trying to train your kids how to play so they can start a band with Jason Brown, too. Because it seems like everybody wants to start a band with Jason Brown.
Sure, why not? Guys, I'm excited about next week. Next week on the show, we are going to be discussing what was the most shocking betrayal of all time.
Oh, man, I've already got mine.
Already? You're not going to research at all? You're just going to got it already, huh?
Don't. I just researched in my head. I just spun it around. Done.
What about you, Derek? You got yours? You got to research a little bit.
I mean, I could say a couple right off the top of my head, and 2 of them are really, really good and not in that graphic.
Now remember,
research.
Now remember, this is the most shocking, not necessarily the best betrayal, but the most shocking at the time.
Hey, to be a kid in that time when that happened, that was shocking.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Do you have any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we get out of here?
Go ahead, Derek.
I feel like the show's too short. I feel like we should keep rambling about something.
Well, I've got something to ramble about. What do you think as far as a TV deal for AEW? Where are they going with this? Are we going to see them on TBS at 6:05? Are we going to see them on TNT? Or are we going to? Where do you think AEW is going to end up on your channel dial?
Well, if it was me, I'm not exactly sure where they're going to go. I mean, they could go to Turner Broadcasting, But some of the horror stories, if you listen to 83 Weeks, some of the horror stories that Bischoff has from his time affiliated with them might deteriorate.
It's kind of different, though, because, when Bischoff was there, Turner owned WCW. This would just be a television show. They would own themselves. So it might be a little bit of a different type of play there than what Eric was used to.
That's true. Honestly, I don't know. Other than, Turner would be huge. What if AEW found a way to get on ESPN? I don't think it'll happen, but that would be huge as well.
It's been mentioned, and with the Cons being involved in the NFL and everything else, they kind of got that foot in the door already.
That's true.
But you know what? I see ESPN. ESPN would be taking AEW off every couple of weeks for some type of game that was happening at the same time. They would definitely be second fiddle on ESPN to absolutely any sport that might have had a big game that night. And I think that's where the problem would lie. I don't know if you
Brian,
guys
you're looking
this.
like Harvey Dent over there, brother. Slide your camera over. There he is.
Harvey Dent. There I am.
Two-Face.
Okay, so one thing that I think about when I think about ESPN, and you guys both might be too young for this, but I remember when I was like,
what do you mean, Dillhole? I'm your age. How old are you?
I'm 36. Aren't you younger than me?
I'll turn 35 in a month.
Okay, well, still,
it's a year, dude.
I probably don't remember then.
No, okay, you probably don't remember it, but do you remember when we were 10, 11 years old, and you would get off school, you would get home by 4 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock, Global Wrestling Federation came on ESPN?
You're right. I don't remember that.
Well, I do remember that, and it was a
That's
great
you're
part
older
of
than
my
shit.
childhood. I am older than dirt. I back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, GWF came on TV with tag teams like the Ebony Experience, Stevie Ray and Booker T. In case you don't know who they were,
really?
Yeah. You ever heard of a bungee cord match?
A bungee cord match?
A bungee cord match. This is when Rod Price and Chaz competed in a bungee cage above the arena, and the loser was thrown out of the bungee cage on a bungee cord. That happened.
Wow.
And there was also a man by the name of Rod Price, who was Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner before Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner was Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. You also seen in GWF the Dangerous Alliance Part 2, which was actually the entire cast from ECW almost. Sandman, Sabu, Rob Van Dam, all of them were in Dangerous Alliance Part 2 in GWF. Gary Hart was there, the Patriot and the Dark Patriot. Also, the Viper was there. So many awesome stars, and you could only see it from 4 to 6 on ESPN when I got out of school in elementary school. And it was an awesome time for wrestling. Not a lot of people got to watch.
I'm gonna have to check out this bungee cord match. It sounds pretty comical.
Yeah, bungee cord match with Chaz. And it's not Chaz the Headbanger either. It's a different guy who never actually made it anywhere other than GWF.
Chaz Darby, right?
I'm not sure what his last name was.
Do you know who Chaz Darby is? Either one of you guys?
Chaz Darby doesn't ring a bell.
Brendan Fraser and Airheads, one of the best movies ever.
Oh, okay. No, it definitely wasn't him.
Okay. Guys, I went to the Real Shoot Wrestling show this past weekend in Fairmont. It was a great show. I recommend you guys going to check those guys out if you haven't already. This weekend, you got a few shows going on.
You ended up picking that over the ASW show?
Yeah, I ended up going to that one instead. I want to catch up with ASW in March because they got Nick Aldis coming. So that should be a lot of fun.
That's versus Facade, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
That's going to be great. However, I'll definitely love that you went to RSW finally. I think it's great. But I also commend you for passing up the opportunity to meet Barry Windham to go to RSW. That's a pretty big deal because from what I understand, Barry Windham shook everyone's hand, was an extremely awesome guy. I think that's really cool that ASW brought in Barry Windham.
Oh,
absolutely. And I guess that porn star was pretty cool too.
That's what my boys want to go see. They're like, Dad, are we going to go see Sonny? And I asked them, I was like, well, you guys want to go here or do you want to go here? And then once we got on the road and I told them how far Fairmont was from Beckley, they was like, can we go to the other one? I was like, it's still about an hour and a half.
Well, if you went and seen her, she is the only person on earth that's done a 60-man Ironman or a 60-minute Ironman match with HBK and Bret Hart.
All right, guys, that's about all the time we have for today. Like I said, next week on the show, what was the most shocking betrayal of all time? For Derek Jones, Brian Resner, I'm John Covey Cole, guys. Until next week, ramble on.
Ramble on!
So it's been announced that on February 23rd, it'll be Chance Prophet versus Dustin Alexander for my Real Shoot Wrestling Internet title. Now, Chance Prophet, it's no secret who you are and what you've done. See, I grew up in the area and I got to see you win titles and work on top for years. But you know, Chance, I'll be damned if you think you're going to show up into Buckhannon and take my title from me. See, Chance Prophet, you had your chance in the limelight. It's my time now. So when it comes to Buckhannon, West Virginia, I'm going to show up and I'm going to beat you with this title on the line because this is my title and my time. I'll see you in Buckhannon, Chance.
February 23rd, RSW at the Event Center in Brushy Fork, Buckhannon, West Virginia. RSW Internet Champion Dustin Alexander, you've already made it known that you've watched me for years, you've watched me win titles, you don't really give a use the language you do because it's what trash little punks use. You don't care about me. Well, I'm going to teach you a lesson come February 23rd that your trainers at the Violence Academy apparently forgot to teach you. That's those that come before you know a heck of a lot more than you ever know. And they can make sure whether you make it in this business or they take you out as quick as your wet little diaper brought you to the dance. You haven't even done enough in your life in wrestling to even speak up towards me, let alone cop an attitude. So, in Brushy Fork, I'm going to teach you a lesson. I may take your title, or I may just permanently imprint it and lodge it in your spine. Hi.